Welcome SAO survivors, it's me Gamerturk, happy 2026, and I'm here to talk about my plans in, well, 2026. In the past year, I'm sure you guys have realized I am not making as many videos, so let's kick off with that. I started working last year in 2025 and admittedly I do not have as much free time as I had before to create videos, which naturally made me reconsider my content strategy, and instead of long form videos, I started going into a little bit more short form, a little bit more focus on Twitter and Facebook and simple image assets and all those kind of stuff, and that's basically been my plan for especially the latter half of 2025, and that is kind of the vibe I want to continue going with. That's what my own time allows. It's a bit bittersweet, of course. I really enjoyed making more in-depth videos, but for starters, as I said, I don't really have the time for it. And secondly, it's not like the SAO series right now is in a position to create such content. So even regularly, I open up Q&As for you guys, and even the questions you guys have, they don't quite go deep into lore-related SAO topics. People want to know when the United Ring anime is coming, people want to know what is happening in the future arc, who don't want to read the light novels. By the way, the light novel links are down below in the description. Now, there's always your favorite arc, your favorite character, those kinds of questions, but there's not much new content, and for that reason, there's not much novel questions either. It's usually the same thing over and over, which leaves me not much room to create those in-depth content either. So my plan is basically continue the way I have been, create promotional material for the series, be it anime, merch, or the games in general, mainly for Twitter and Facebook. And the reason I'm not including YouTube there is because YouTube community posts, if I post more than one a single day, they start getting suppressed by like 90%, which is why I can't do it. If you are watching this, please follow me on Facebook or Twitter. That's where I can post without those kinds of restrictions I got on YouTube. But that doesn't mean I am not gonna cover large-scale news when we actually have large-scale news. You know, last year I was still covering Fractured Daydream news in quite the in-depth form, so if we get news, I am going to continue covering them. March 2026, as I said, that is when I'm expecting new SAO movie news. Once that happens, there's going to be a little bit more activity on the YouTube side of things, of course. But other than that, for now, it's simple, low effort, more easygoing, easily digestible kind of content on Twitter and Facebook mainly. So what's going to happen with YouTube until then, or in general, when in the periods where we don't have any news? Well, I am live streaming. I haven't been actually live streaming in the past month, but I want to make it a regular Saturday, Sunday activity again. On my YouTube channel, on, well, Saturdays and Sundays, probably Fridays, depending on how it goes. But, you know, things like the Pokemon Legends ZA DLC, I actually do want to stream that tomorrow if I can. And then go back to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I still have not finished that because how bloated it felt. I want to go back to Final Fantasy 15 was it, right? 15, 16? I think it was 16. The DLC 2 I still haven't done despite purchasing it ages ago. I completely forgot that game existed. I want to play some Guild Wars. Maybe I'm gonna play some League of Legends with Ashley, who knows? But I do want to continue that on the weekends if you're interested. It's more variety content rather than SAO focus, but you know, you can ask me simple questions and I can answer in chat. I like doing those kinds of stuff. Now, the Twitter and Facebook part. What I'm gonna do is I'm basically gonna cover everything the way I have been already. Weekly SEO Integral Factor banners. I think you guys are enjoying that a lot. I want to extend that to events when I can create something interesting. I'm still ideating what I can do, but currently that's gonna be limited to banners. For the event type of content, I tried a bunch of things in the past, but there wasn't much interest. Maybe they were a bit too convoluted. I need to think of ways to make the events or other kind of campaigns that's going on a little bit more attractive. Unless Fractured Daydream comes back around with large news, I am assuming the game is now in full-on maintenance mode. They have switched the seasons to 4 months, 4 trial passes per season. We currently have no information why they did that, whether they're preparing something for season 6. 6 was supposed to arrive this month, but it is not because it's now 4-month seasons. If there are any big news, anything we're not expecting, I'm gonna return to covering Fractured Daydream, but for now, I'm under the assumption that the game is full-on in maintenance mode. Now, SAO Games, they are sharing quite nice trivia recently, but the English localization has been at such a state that I have decided to no longer share the news that the global account is sharing. It's not because I don't want to support them. I have been supporting them quite passionately for how many? Since last collection, since they have created the account. And they know my intentions to keep supporting it. The problem is, it's at such a state that I feel like sharing the things they create with the kind of not misinformation, sorry, that's just force of habit. With the amount of unprofessionalism, with the amount of not having a QA for what they are writing, having 3 different names for a single character, barely readable English in their posts because no one's reading them back. They are actually omitting information in those Q&A tweets at the moment solely because the global side is run by US and they are not responsible for the publishing of the mobile games. So everything mobile related, they're literally cropping away from those Q&As. And at that point, if I'm sharing them, even if I don't say anything, it is a bad look for them. It's no longer a positive. And that is why I have decided to no longer share stuff from SAO games until they can hold themselves to a bare minimum standard. And it is not very high. In my opinion, that's just pure unprofessionalism or some mistake in their overall process for creating these things, because it goes through multiple departments to be greenlit. The marketing side, the translating side, then the community, social media management side. It goes a minimum of 3 departments it goes through. So kind of getting it greenlit at such state, it has to be an oversight in their overall pipeline. And until they get that fixed, until they get that to an acceptable standard of minimum quality for a company of their size and prestige, I'm just gonna be creating my own assets based on what the Japanese side is doing. When I can adapt their assets, I will adapt their assets. If I can't, I will create my own, and I will not be truncating or cropping off any information just because, hey, mobile games, they are not our responsibility. I think that is a huge mistake. Global side, please, even if you can't take over the global communications for mobile games because it's not your property, at least show that you are not willingly throwing them out of your communication that exists in the original form of that asset. Please. That's the least you can do. But yeah, in general terms, that's the plans for 2026. It is sadly not the most exciting kind of plan. It's more of me waiting for something to emerge. Sadly, I am not at a point where I can spend the time and effort to create novel stuff out of thin air when there's barely anything existing. And even when I do create them, because the overall brand is at a standstill at the moment, because it is not attracting so much attention, whether it's games, anime, or light novels themselves, which are all on a decline at the moment, even when I do create them, it barely reaches any of you guys because it is just not gaining any kind of traction. So the plan is we wait. And hopefully March 2026 is going to give some nice reasons to get back into SAO. That's what I am hoping for. And otherwise, I hope you will continue enjoying the little kind of stuff I have been creating, especially on Twitter and Facebook. As I said, YouTube suppresses all that stuff if I share them too much. So Twitter and Facebook is where I'm sharing a lot of stuff pretty much daily. Please do follow me there. And otherwise, stay cool until we have some nice stuff to talk about. Take care and have a nice 2026.